One of the greatest joys of my life is being a dad. I learned so much. I mess up a lot. But they constantly unearth truths and insights for me that not only teach me more about myself, but teach me more about God Himself. Just last night, my wife and I were talking about my son Maddox. Maddox is this. He is a big young man. He's just tall and thick, and he looks like he could be someone that might even be a little insensitive, like a jock's jock that doesn't really care, but actually deep down, Maddox cares incredibly deep. His well is so vast. His heart is so powerful. And even though at times you can't even find a way to penetrate the smile he always seems to have on his face, Maddox is a deep well. We were reminiscing about a time whenever Maddox was around 3. We were in our house, and Maddox had this tendency to take toys, and when he was done with them, just to throw them over his head. Which we had gotten on him quite a little bit. And so then one Saturday, he did it in the morning. We were in the living room, and I said, buddy, listen, we've been telling you this for weeks. You cannot just throw a toy over your head. You're going to hurt someone. So I said, if you do it one more time, you're going to be in big trouble. That afternoon, I was standing at that little island in our kitchen, and I was going through the mail when all of a sudden I heard this blood-curdling scream coming back from the bedrooms. So I go racing back there, and there's my daughter sitting in the threshold of the door, holding her head, and I see Maddox standing over in the corner doing this with his fingers, which tells me he's very nervous and overwhelmed about what could be happening. And sure enough, I look down at the feet of my daughter, and there is this big old metal truck. I consoled my daughter, made sure that she was okay, got her some ice. And then I brought Maddox into the kitchen, and I said, buddy, did you throw that toy and hit your sister? He shook his head. I said, dude, this is exactly what I told you not to do. I said, I'm a man of my word. I want you to know you can always trust me. And I told you were going to be in big trouble. And so I gave Maddox his discipline, and then I was stooped down face to face with him. And we used to always say this to our children. We'd say, listen, I love you too much to let you disobey. And when we gave each other a big hug, and when we pulled back, Maddox had a little tear coming from his eye, and he asked me this question. He said, Daddy, will there ever be a day when I'm not your son? I said, buddy, what do you want? What are you talking about? He said, will there ever be a day when you don't love me anymore? I said, son, absolutely not. I said, there is nothing you can do that will change my love for you. For even if you reject me, you move away, I will come after you because, son, you are my son, and that will never change, and my love for you will never, ever fade. He shrugged his shoulders, walked away, and was like, okay. And reflecting on that, I couldn't help but think of Psalm chapter 27, verse 10. It's a psalm of David. And David is talking about, it's this mixture of exaltation of God. The Lord is my light and my salvation, verse 1. Whom shall I fear? And yet this also like anxiety. This fear of the enemy overcoming him. Verse 2, when the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. He's in this tension, but his faith is firmly centered in the Lord. And in verse 10, he says this powerful, powerful image. He says, though my father and my mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Though my father and my mother forsake me, the Lord will father me. The Lord will mother me. I was blessed with having a great father and mother. But one of the things I learned growing up is that a child never outgrows the need to be received by their mom and dad, to be pursued by their mom and dad, to know that they can go to a safe place, a refuge, and to not only be received, but to be given insight, which is what verse 11 then keeps going in Psalm 27. He says, "Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path." Direction, wisdom, love, pursuit, simply being received is something that none of us ever outgrow. In fact, the older that we get, the more we crave it. It just comes out in very different ways. We try to suppress this desire to be received by a father or a mother, ones that are absent because they've never actually embraced or engaged the title, ones that are passive because they simply believe that everything will just be okay if we ignore it, or ones that have simply died and passed on, that they're no longer physically here. And inside of us, we crave this nurturing, and we try to satisfy it with distraction, satisfy it with physical things or physical experiences. We try to numb it. But ultimately, the desire for nurturing is implanted into the heart of every man, woman, and child, because it is that desire that is ultimately fulfilled in God, but that is beautifully demonstrated, exampled by our father and our mother. By God's grace, the family of God provides fathers and mothers, mentors, that can love on, nurture, and disciple those that maybe their father and mother simply don't receive them. And I do believe that is the Lord teaching his own. That is the Lord parenting his own. So here's my challenge for you this week. One of two things. Number one, if you are of an age where you have walked life for many decades, you might need to play the role of a mother or a father for a brother or a sister in Christ that is in the church. Seek them out. Offer them your home. Do not allow the insecurities of your age to overlook the fact that all of us desire to be received by a father or mother figure. And the second challenge, if you are one of those where your father and mother have abandoned you for some reason, whether it be death, passivity, or simply have never been a father or mother that's present, seek out a father or a mother so that God the Father can receive you, teach you, and guide you on a path through the wisdom of his church. I love you guys. Have a good week.